So, very good morning. Please do all have a seat. I'll just be standing for a second. Let me first introduce myself. My name is Pedro Vargas de Vida. I'm the chairman of Euronews, Europe's leading news channel. Normally our journalists do this for you, but I'm very honored to this time take the role and moderate this very interesting session. And it's a pleasure to be back in Abu Dhabi. As you know, in our last ministerial dialogue today, we are going to go back on a very important topic, who actually started here in Abu Dhabi back in February 2024, the UNESCO Framework for Culture and Arts Education. And throughout the discussion and throughout the day, we're going to, and this next hour, we're going to go into in-depth of how this implementation has been going, how different countries are taking such an important measures to promote education and to really bridge the arts and the education space into one so that there is a continuous dialogue. Creativity is also at the center of many of the economic reforms and the changes that are happening, and the bridge also between the economy and the arts and education really all come together in a very important way for sustainable development. Stefania Giannini, who is with us today, the Assistant Director General for Education of UNESCO. Thank you very much for being here today. Can you please remind us all here on the work led by UNESCO that led to this framework adopted here in Abu Dhabi, and your vision of how this implementation has been strengthened by national policies that build this creative capacity and support long-term development, please.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everybody. It's a great pleasure. It's a great honor also to be here almost in the same room, I suppose, where we launched exactly 1 year and 2 months ago in 2024 February. This important, innovative approach to make culture and education clearly, concretely, two sides of the same coin. I think that the leadership of UAE is very much telling us that we cannot have a very well-educated society ready for the future, a new generation of young people ready to address the many challenges we have around without the sense of identity, the sense of belonging to, the sense of better knowledge, better awareness of what culture means. And UNESCO is the organization globally which can do the job, because it's the only organization where culture and education and science come together to this objective. And let me say a few words on, as you kindly ask you, how we started to see this framework for culture and arts education being, let's say, the roadmap, the guidance for all countries of the world to make these principles, this common vision become a concrete tool available for teachers, for learners, for community at large. And I think that we had two important steps from February last year. Number one, the recommendation on a normative instrument that UNESCO member states adopted in 2023, 2 months before, which is the recommendation on education for peace, human rights, and sustainable development, which, in a few words, let's say, brings to the light of education communities a vision which is about making global citizenship education, education for sustainable development, the very core of education systems in the world. And this is, let's say, the normative institutional roadmap that countries adopt to build this vision in a very concrete way. And since the adoption of this framework, UNESCO did another important step, which is about finalizing a comprehensive implementation guidance. This is a very simple tool where ministers, I have some colleagues here who can speak about their experience, are, let's say, introducing in their communities this vision. I think that the three main levels of action are the same: curriculum reforms, training of teachers, and of course building the school environment adapted to this vision. And we see countries from Brazil. I suppose that we'll have in a few minutes some concrete, Brazil is there. And from Mauritius, from Bangladesh, Colombia. I mean, we have a different kind of perspectives from different regions of the world where cultural diversity and this humanistic vision of education that UNESCO is championing since the establishment of this organization are bringing together. Now, why it's important to emphasize this combination of culture and education now in these troubled times? Why it's important that UNESCO is championing this initiative? In my opinion, as former Minister of Education and Research in my country, which is Italy, I would say that more than ever, when technology is, let's say, opening a new phase, a new era with a lot of opportunities and also challenges, we must strengthen the human side of learning. We must give children, learners, the opportunity to unlock the potential as human beings. And I think that imagination and creativity, you mentioned these words, are, let's say, the very core part of the agenda that this framework where culture and education come together, where cultural diversity is, let's say, one of the main objectives of the learning process, can really bring new solutions. That's why I think the role of UNESCO as the only organization globally which can bring this vision is more than ever an essential role.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Moving here to the UAE, we have Hajar Al-Thali with us, the Secretary General for Education of the United Arab Emirates. The UAE has been at the leadership and at the beginning of the launch of the framework for culture and arts education. How in such a diverse community, probably one of the best labs in the world, to actually apply the framework? How has the UAE been doing it and so successfully?
Thank you so much, Pedro. And I love what you said, Stephanie. It resonates a lot with what we do. Can I just start by reflecting on the theme of this year's summit, and then I'll talk more about the framework and how we translate that into action here in the education system in the UAE. So the year's summit, Culture for Humanity and Beyond, it resonates very deeply with what we do here in the UAE. It reflects two key pillars that are at the core of our national approach: cultural resilience and global creative engagement. Cultural resilience, or the passing on of identity and heritage, it is a cross-cutting pillar in everything that we do at the Council and also at the education entities and the institutions across the UAE. We believe that safeguarding heritage along with preparing learners for the globally changing, rapid world is no longer a choice. It is a responsibility that we have to adopt. The values that we inherit from our heritage, they shape us, they define us. We are a nation that is built on a very strong value system and a very strong national identity. So it is at the core. Culture and the national identity and the national values are at the core of everything that we do, be it in education or any other sector that we have in the UAE. Culture for humanity, to us, it means inclusion, not only in action, but also in thinking. It is not just history, it's a very strong living force that shapes how young people learn, how they innovate, and how they connect. In a country as diverse as the UAE, with it's a home for over 200 nationalities. We see cultural education not just as a policy, but also a way of life. We believe that understanding one's heritage and respecting the heritage of others is very essential to prepare youth for global citizenship. This understanding led us to reimagine our education system. And in alignment with the UNESCO's framework, we operationalize this framework into multiple initiatives across the nation. For example, the Ministry of Education has recently launched an initiative called My School, My Identity, in which schools would compete to imagine or reimagine their spaces in a way that celebrates the national identity, the national heritage of the UAE. Inside the school and to the living environment of the school and within the curriculum and everything that goes around the student in the school. There's also a national framework for cultural activities that is a joint effort between the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Culture. This aims to embed arts, heritage, culture, and national identity into the education system consistently from KG early years to along to grade 12. There are also increasing strategic partnerships between the education institutions with museums, with heritage institutions, with creative industries, with the festivals that are happening in the nation to bring living culture into the classroom. And more importantly, we're all investing heavily in AI. I have to bring my iPad next time. We're investing heavily in AI in education. More surprises will be announced soon here in the UAE when it comes to AI. Very responsible AI though. These emerging technologies will be key enablers to amplify creative expression for cultural exchange within students and also global learning from the earliest years in schools. There are also multiple initiatives at the Emirate level. For example, in the UAE, the National Identity Mark was introduced a couple of years ago, and it's now being in action. It was piloted first, and now we're seeing the impact of it. It evaluates and it recognizes schools that celebrate national identity and embed national identity within their learning environments. There's also in Dubai, they recently launched a couple of months ago, the Education 33 strategy. This strategy adopts a more learner-centric, inclusive and future-focused strategy for education. It embeds Emirati values while preparing the students for the globally changing world. So by connecting, Pedro, the tradition with innovation and with education, we are cultivating creativity here in the UAE. We're increasing critical thinking within students and, more importantly, cultural literacy. These are all very essential skills for our students to thrive as both national leaders as well as global citizens. Our direction is very clear when it comes to culture. Every student in the UAE will learn about culture through culture and with culture. It is no longer on the sidelines. It will be the heart of what we do. It's the heart of learning, it's the heart of innovation, and the heart of global engagement. Through this commitment, we're not only building a smarter future, but hopefully a more connected, a more compassionate, and a more human one. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And now we start our tour a little bit around the world from Abu Dhabi first. We're also joined by Professor Bidan Ranjan Roy Podar from the Republic of Bangladesh. You're an advisor to the Minister of Primary and Mass Education of Bangladesh. Bangladesh has focused a lot on foundational learning and education, especially in rural areas. Let me ask you how the framework has actually, the UNESCO framework, has actually helped you achieve results that actually bring together this creative support and more capable society combined, right? And so how the framework is actually, in a very practical way, helping the children of Bangladesh.
Thank you, Pedro. First of all, I am thanking UNESCO for such an important initiative. And the age of AI and huge immigration, the identity becoming a problem. And at the same time, the very human essence, that is the creativity. We have to highlight it on it. So I think the framework is a very time-honored step by UNESCO, and it is helping us or guiding us to make our goal, to plan and to implement. In Bangladesh, we used to uh, use our mother tongue as a medium of learning for all students. And we know the mother tongue is a vehicle of culture. And when we teach our students literature in our mother tongue, they become accustomed with our culture also. There are special steps we are taking to make the student creative and culturally informed. We have created teachers of music, post for teachers for music and teachers for fine arts. We have introduced in our primary school. And there are some ethnic groups in our country, and we are preparing textbooks for their children so that they can get the primary education via their own language. We are doing all these things. So I think in accord with the UNESCO framework, we are trying to introduce in our schools and highlighting the cultural aspects and the creativity to our students. And in the future, I think this logical thinking, problem solving, and creativity will be our aim to prepare our children for future citizen in a country like Bangladesh, where the population is huge. And if we can train our students and make them properly educated, then they will be our assets for the future. These are the ways. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. We jump across to Brazil. Bom dia. Maria Angela Andrade, you're the Director for Artistic Education of the Government of Brazil. Thank you for joining us as well. Brazil places the arts at the heart of your basic education. How has this framework helped actually get more talent, get more creative talent, and also in a huge country with very diverse realities, the big metropolis of São Paulo, Rio de Janeiro, to the small villages in very remote Amazonia? How is this also helping different regions and very different realities, enhancing the knowledge of the arts through the national curriculum?
Well, first, thank you, Pedro, for your question. Thank you very much for realizing and making possible for us to be here today. It's my great pleasure to be, in the name of my minister, Ms. Margarete Menezes, to be here representing Brazil in this important forum with you. Well, to start with, it's important to say that in Brazil, the arts are constitutionally recognized as a fundamental pillar of education. So the National Common Curricular Base, the BNCC, established in 2017, places arts at the core basic education from early childhood through high school. It mandates the inclusion of the 4 artistic languages: visual arts, music, theater, and dance, across all educational states, ensuring that every student, regardless of their region, of background, has access to diverse forms of artistic expression as a fundamental right. So we try to guarantee that in this diversity that we have in Brazil, that we guarantee for everyone to have access. The BNCC also defines 10 general competences to be developed through this basic education. So 2 are directly linked to the arts and culture, to value and enjoy diverse artistic cultural manifestations, and to engage in various practices of artistic and cultural production, to use different languages, verbal, corporal, visual, digital, artistic, mathematical, and scientific, to express oneself. And it's very important that we manage to combine all arts with science. The Brazilian Ministry of Education, and like I'm the Brazilian here, I'm talking by the two ministry, right? Supports also this vision through continuous teacher training, developing of education resources, and the integration of arts into national assessments. The Ministry of Culture, in turn, complements these efforts through initiatives like the National Policy for Culture and Arts, launched in 2024, aiming to build bridges between cultural institutions, schools, promoting hand-on learning experiences in museums, cultural centers, and artistic residencies. Despite these advances, it's of course our knowledge that Brazil is ongoing challenges in fully integrating arts educations into this school curriculum with sufficient content that depth and pedagogical support while avoiding its devaluations compared to other academic subjects, right? And our recent national policies have reinforced this commitment to holistic education, so that the National Policy for Comprehension Full-Time Education from 2023 supports states and municipalities, so all the content involved, in expanding school hours and broadening education contents. The School and Community Program provides federal fundings for learning projects that strengthen ties between schools, families, and local community, aiming not only to enhance education quality, but also to foster citizenship, peace, and democracy. By the end of 2024, all states and 89% of the municipalities were participating in this program. And Brazil is huge, it's kind of 50,000 municipalities. The National Network of Free Schools for Training in Art and Culture, that's a culture program, also plays a key role, bringing together 68 civil society organizations to promote inclusive and diverse artistic education, especially for children and youth from indigenous, quilombolas, and marginalized communities. You know, I think you don't have this word quilombolas around the world, but it's our Negro communities from slave descendants in Brazil. The UNESCO framework for cultural arts and education offers crucial international validations and renewing moment for these initiatives. It reinforces the understanding of culture and education as an universal common good, and it emphasizes on inclusion, diversity, and sustainability resonates deeply with Brazil priorities. It inspires us to further embed arts and education on all territories. Strengthening creative competences is a vital skills for the 21st century, as you said. It's our obligation, right? It's our duty to guarantee that creativity and critical thinking is fostered through education. So we have Colombia like for a great inspiration because you managed to do it so nicely, right?
Great, muito obrigado. Actually, you already set the tone for the continuation of the conversation in Latin America. Muy buenos días, muchas gracias. We're joined by His Excellency the Minister of Culture, Arts and Knowledge of the Republic of Colombia, His Excellency Yanay Candamani. Muy buenos días. Colombia has been a leading and clearly recognized as a driving force in the implementation of the framework, in particular at local efforts level. And can you share with us how has the ministry helped and worked across these communities And what are the most important lessons that the international community can take? At the same time, the country is also going through the peace process that has been implemented, so huge transformations in Colombia.
Well,
Please.
thank you, Pedro, for the question. Thank you so much. Thanks, UNESCO, for the invitation, and everyone in here that is hearing this conversation. So, first of all, this relationship between culture and education is in the heart of our country right now, in the middle of the political discussions, because we know what it means to talk about art in the education system, right? So this relationship, we do believe that has to come from structural change, backed up by public policies. Otherwise, it's not going to work, and it's not going to do what we need to do. So in Colombia, actually right now, we are trying to go into the idea that the only way to build peace through arts, cultural, and knowledges, traditional knowledges, is by getting to the official education system. Is the only way. It must be an interinstitutional, intersectorial, way of talk with the communities that we are going to get what we get. So that's why we create this program, Artes para la Construcción de Paz. And what is that? It's a model between two ministries, culture and education, public universities, and social ways of organization in our country. So, ¿de qué se trata el modelo? El modelo se trata y tiene el objetivo principal de garantizar el derecho de la educación artística y cultural en todos los establecimientos públicos del país, o en los colegios, como muchos de nosotros los conocemos. En todos los colegios, los niños, niñas y jóvenes de nuestro país deben tener y les debemos garantizar como Estado el derecho a la educación artística en sus distintas disciplinas: danza, música, teatro, cine, literatura y teatro. ¿Cierto? Ese es el objetivo principal del programa. ¿Cómo lo hacemos? El Ministerio de Cultura y el Ministerio de Educación se alían en un programa financiado por ambas carteras, llegando y haciendo convenios con las universidades públicas del país. Y esto no es menor, porque lo que hacemos es poder entender que hay una alianza también con la academia superior, porque a veces se cree que el saber de la academia intelectual es distinto y diverge de los saberes tradicionales de los territorios. Y yo creo que si nosotros logramos reconciliar esas dos ideas, entramos de una manera mucho más potencializada al territorio. Los ministerios hacen un convenio con las universidades públicas, y las universidades públicas son las que contratan a los artistas formadores de todo el territorio nacional. Y aquí hay algo muy interesante, y es que no estamos solo trabajando en las ciudades grandes o intermedias, estamos llegando a casi el 95% de todo el territorio nacional. Quiere decir que estamos atendiendo áreas rurales, municipalizadas, donde hay comunidades diversas, vulnerables, porque es el corazón finalmente de este programa. Con esta atención de casi el 95% del país, las universidades además contratan a artistas locales, y esta es otra cosa fundamental. Nosotros no llevamos artistas formadores desde el centro o desde los centros de las ciudades hacia las periferias, sino que reconocemos cuál es el valor de los sabedores, las sabedoras, los maestros, la memoria, la herencia, las diversas identidades culturales que existen en la diversidad de territorios que tiene Colombia, y ahí es donde generamos un proceso de inserción laboral. Entonces ahí ya estamos cubriendo otra categoría del problema de la educación y la cultura, y es la dignificación laboral de ese ejercicio artístico en los países. Contrataron ellos a los artistas, y esos artistas son los que entran a los establecimientos públicos a hacer todo un ejercicio de recopilación y transferencia de saberes, pero también de investigación. Entonces la investigación tradicional empieza a conversar con la investigación académica. Entonces empiezan a generar una diversidad de necesidades y de respuestas a esas necesidades, si se quiere, construyendo un tejido social en los territorios. Entonces es una cadena, es un modelo que comprende una cadena muy interesante, incluyendo dotación. En este momento nosotros apostamos desde la formación, pero sabemos que también la carencia para el ejercicio digno de las disciplinas artísticas es importante. Entonces los ministerios también hacen un esfuerzo para dotar con instrumentos musicales, con vestuarios de danza, con kits tecnológicos, para que en estas comunidades empiecen a desarrollar estos ejercicios desde sus propios lugares de conocimiento, lo cual se hace absolutamente indispensable. Entonces, por eso hablamos de una alianza público-popular. ¿Cómo nosotros hacemos para entender que los modelos que tenemos que construir no solo provienen de la institución formal, sino que están ya construidos en los modelos populares de ejercicio propio y tradicional? Y creo que esa es la ganancia de este programa, porque se apropia de tal manera en los territorios que son ellos los que finalmente terminan demandándole el programa al Estado y no el Estado imponiendo su propio modelo. Nosotros en este momento estamos atendiendo a más de, si la memoria no me falla, 300.000 niños, niñas y jóvenes de todo el país en la diversidad de disciplinas artísticas, en la diversidad de saberes tradicionales, porque sabemos que no es lo mismo contratar a un artista formador en el Caribe colombiano, donde las herencias tradicionales de la música son el porro y la cumbia, a tener un artista contratado en los llanos orientales, donde trabaja a través de las coplas, a través del llano, a través del zapateo. Entonces consideramos cada una de esas tradiciones y es un trabajo de filigrana muy fuerte en el que está la institución, la universidad y el trabajo público popular. Entonces creo que ha sido un modelo muy exitoso, porque de esa manera es que las organizaciones sociales han reconocido que el Estado está atendiendo el trabajo de construir paz, y es volver a recuperar la confianza entre la institución, la universidad y lo popular. Y eso es lo más valioso del programa, creo yo.
Muchas gracias, Ministra. I'm just probably for the benefit of all of you, I'm just going to do a very quick sum up for those of you who did not have the translation at the same time of what you just said. I try, and correct me if some of the ideas I just didn't get them all, but the minister was basically referring how this is a very strong partnership between education and culture ministries, how both are investing from a budget perspective into this program, and also the involvement of public universities, right? The fact that you are involving all these public universities is critical to the success of the project. The involvement of the communities, the hiring of local artists throughout the country, a country in a very diverse reality. People don't realize how big Colombia is, how 50 million people live in Colombia, and how it is so diverse and so different. And you talk about a public-popular or people's state alliance to achieve, at the end of the day, peace, because the country is going through the peace process for a number of years now. And so how this program actually lets people from the whole country, you said more than 300,000 kids have been involved into the different programs, and peace as a driver for the success of the project that you just mentioned. I thought it was probably, I'm sure the knowledge of Spanish throughout the room is great, but I thought it was helpful to get
nice.
just a few words in English for those of you who did not have translation at the same time. Thank you very much, Minister.
Thank you.
I just wanted
Thank you, Pedro.
I just wanted to then now move to Mauritius, another country with a very diverse culture, a very diverse background, country, an island in Africa with a lot of Indian origin as well. And so you do have a very multicultural context and a very fertile ground for creativity and for creative expression. And at the same time, I wanted to ask you how you are also using the digital world and the whole movement of digital innovation that is happening, including social media, shaping cultural narratives. How are you integrating the digital literacy and the responsible creative practices into education? And of course, how does the UNESCO framework helps you to achieve those results? Please, and of course, sorry, I should have forgotten with the translation. We are honored to have Danita Ram Dare, Deputy Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Education of the Republic of
Good
Mauritius.
morning.
Thank you.
So you have two questions for me.
Yes.
First of all, on the multiculturality of Mauritius, and secondly, on the digital
Yes.
aspect. Okay. First of all, to start with, I would like to express my gratitude to thank the UNESCO, the UAE, for inviting me to participate on this platform, and also for all those in the audience who are here to listen to me, to listen to this conversation, what is happening today. So you just mentioned that Mauritius is we all know that it is a multicultural society, and I'm here today to share with you the Mauritian experience on how people of the different origins and cultures have come together, as you said, to make the country a fertile ground for creativity and innovation. As you said, Mauritius is very small compared to all of you who are on this platform, UAE, Bangladesh, Colombia, and Brazil. But though we are small, we are known all around the world for our multicultural society, which is very vibrant, and we're also known as a rainbow nation, where everybody, we live, we coexist in peacefully. We are very peaceful, and this ecosystem, peaceful ecosystem, has promotes creativity and innovation. Now, to understand how this has happened, we need to go back to the history of Mauritius, and the history dates back 400 years. So just briefly, I'm telling you, it is a history of colonization, started with the Portuguese coming to Mauritius, then we had the Dutch, and then also we had the Portuguese, Dutch, the French, and then the British. And each one, when coming to Mauritius, they put at the layer of the different cultures. So when the Dutch came to Mauritius, they brought the sugarcane, they left it there. So when the French came to Mauritius, and we had the sugarcane, which became very central to the economy. So we need, I'm not going to be long because just briefly, so we had to bring workers from other places to work on the sugarcane field. So they brought slaves from Africa. Then you get the Africans people coming on to Mauritius. After that, when the British came, they also, when slavery was abolished in 19th century, when the British came, they brought indentured labor from the different parts of like India, Asia. So from different parts of Asia, then we also came adding to the layers different people from the different parts of Asia. So all these people stayed in Mauritius, and gradually we got the different people, the different cultures there. And over time, the way we stayed together, this has led to a rich cultural mosaic. So today we are known as Mauritius is known as a melting pot of cultures. So I've got this expression, it is a melting pot of cultures where we all exist peacefully, and there has been a cultural fusion. And today we have this, we identify ourselves. All people coming from different places. We identify ourselves with that, what we call the Mauritianism. We have been able to be one people as a Mauritian, we identify. We call the different people, we don't call us Hindus or Africans, we call Indo-Mauritians. So we respect each other, we celebrate the festivals, the different religious practices of each other. We have national holidays to celebrate, to honor the different cultures. We celebrate Eid al-Fitr, Spring festivals. And now, so I would like to talk about how our education policies, the education system, has contributed to bring that cultural how you say, the blend, have the cultural blend at a very young age. And also that Mauritianism also, which I was talking about. Education is free in Mauritius, we all know. It is from the primary to tertiary level, and it is accessible to all children, irrespective of their social or economic background. Though we do have private schools, which are paid ones. The language brought by our ancestors are taught in schools. We do, the official language is English, though we do have French, we do use French or Creole, but our children, as from the lower primary, do not learn only English and French. They also learn Oriental language, like the Hindi, the Tamil, Telugu, Asian language. And this helps them to foster cultural empathy and understanding. The curriculum also englobes the tradition, cultures, and way living of our ancestors who came to Mauritius. Schools incorporate a wide range of cultural and artistic disciplines in the programs, from music and dance to visual arts and drama, reflecting the country's cultural identity. Schools also celebrate cultural festivals and encourage creativity through music, dance, theater, visual arts, and in line with the vision of UNESCO to promote inclusive, creative education. Participation in national festivals and cultural celebrations. Children are encouraged to participate in festivals and celebrations, and this gives them the opportunity to express their creativity through performance, visual arts, storytelling, even traditional crafts. Training of teachers, which you mentioned, is a very important component. So a lot of emphasis is laid on the training of teachers. Teachers are trained to inculcate creativity in our children from a very young age. Arts, cultural heritage are embedded in our national curricula from pre-primary to secondary levels. Okay, thus advancing the objectives of UNESCO framework for education, culture, and arts education. We have bachelor, diploma, postgraduate certificates for teachers to empower teachers with both pedagogical and practical expertise in arts. These initiatives are aligned with UNESCO's vision of using arts education as a tool to address global challenges and inclusivity and sustainable societies. Programs, we also have programs in vocational education and training education, because there is a growing interest of our youth in the fields of design, media, performing arts. Yeah, there are many opportunities for young Mauritians to turn their artistic passions into careers, whether in fashion design, musical theater, programs in vocational training, technical education are expanding. We also have the necessary educational setup, the institutional setup to promote creativity among our young children. We have government agencies, we have other bodies functioning under government agencies. We have foundations, we have funds, all working towards empowering our children, irrespective of their cultural background. I would say the Mauritian child, empowering the Mauritian child to unleash their creativity. We have public libraries, museums, cultural centers, community centers, family centers, youth centers, working towards empowering our children. Partnership, this is another aspect, partnership among local organizations. We have partnership and collaboration with international organizations like the UNESCO, we have the World Bank, we have other banks like the Africa Development Bank, to strengthen our ability to inculcate artistic skills, creativity among our people. We have schemes, scholarships, we give scholarships to children, irrespective of their cultural background, right? In the field of visual performing arts. So these are, I'm just telling you, in the formal education sector.
Yep.
We also have in the non-formal, we have collaboration of community leaders, NGOs, religious, cultural bodies, civil society in promoting inclusion and creativity education. You're going to tell me the time?
Yes,
Yeah.
I think we have a few more seconds. I
Ayo.
still wanted to give everyone a chance for a last
Yes.
minute
Yeah.
reflection.
We have
But you have so
scholarships.
many things.
So this is for
that
the first
you have-
part of the, we
yes.
have so many things. We have the, just to summarize, we have the formal and the non-formal sectors. We have partnership, international collaborations. We have institutional setup. All these conditions are there to promote the creativity in our children. Now coming to your second question, is it okay?
No, actually I'm going to suggest one thing. If you can leave the last for your last minute, because I'm still going to give you a last minute in the last round, if you can talk about the digital point on your last question, if that's okay for you.
Yeah.
Stefania, I just wanted to come back to you in a reflection, and maybe that can be your point moving forward. We are here 1 year after the launch of the framework, a few more months after the 1 year mark. What's the future for the framework, and in a minute, how do you see what would be important from UNESCO? And then I'll ask each one of the participants really for a minute so that we are keeping our time here.
Yes, thank you. First of all, 30 seconds to see the achievements that since February 2024 we got through this new approach, culture and education coming together in the same framework, bringing a common vision. I think, Madam Secretary of State, we just built a strong political movement which brings together two members of the government that it's not obvious they work together, they coordinate, they bring together universities and school systems, they activate and, let's say, involve the artistic communities. So this is incredibly encouraging for us because the 5 pillars of this framework are already in action. And this is my first important takeaway from this interesting dialogue. What about the next steps? Listen, we have an incredibly important opportunity this year in Barcelona, the 2025 Mondiacult, which is the big movement that UNESCO reactivated 3 years ago in 2022, bringing all the ministers of culture together. But this time, for this edition of Mondiacult 2025, there will be a specific moment and section dedicated to ministers of education and culture coming together and implementing through the guidance that we are finalizing in the next weeks these important initiatives that 4 countries described so greatly. So I think that what we have to do now is to put a question on the table, how we can measure the success of this initiative in a few years' time. And for me, as UNESCO, we are, as you know, the guardian of SDG 4, quality, inclusive education for all, education as a basic fundamental human right. From now to 2030, I would say that those who will be at UNESCO, not me for sure, in 5 years, in 2030, should see at least, let's say, 80% of the countries of the world doing the job that you are already doing in your countries. That means bringing this common vision that culture and education are 2 common goods. They are human rights. They must come together to unlock the potential for an education system and a cultural system that brings to democracy, to peace, and, let's say, give children and learners a new approach to build tolerance, respect, all the values that UNESCO was established for. And this is, I think, a very feasible and, concrete target that we can put here in 2025, 1 year after the launch of this framework.
Great. Well, Stefanios, thank you so much. Just really one phrase for each one of you so that we have 5 countries represented. And I want to be conscious of time, which I have a bit lost here. But Hajar, please, for the United Arab Emirates.
I'll do it in less than 1 minute. Just, I just want to say, like, reflecting on the last thing that I said, I see the future already here. It's a smart future, very connected future. Thank you all for sharing what you do now on when it comes to embedding the framework in your countries. It was extremely informative to us all. The future is here. It is already connected. It is compassionate. It is very human-centric. Though this makes us happy. I'm glad that it started here. It's going to continue in every country, and we continue to learn from each other. Thank you so much.
Professor. For Bangladesh, please.
Till now, that is mathematics, science, technology is getting priority, and it's the time to give priority to the human being. And so, the initiative that is to enhance cultural learning, I think it is a time-demanded thing, and all we should prioritize this in our education, I think. For last of all, I am thanking UNESCO for organizing such an important conference, and AU for their nice hospitality and overall management. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mariangela, for Brazil, please.
I think it's important to highlight the importance of these forums so we can share our good practice and we can learn from each other, and that's the way we can build a future for everyone else based in peace, guaranteeing education, and so we have our cultural heritage guaranteed for our children as well. So thank you, Pedro, thank you, UNESCO, UI, and everyone here for hearing us too.
Thank you very much. Ministra, for Colombia, please.
Al empezar hace 2 días este Cultural Summit, en la charla de apertura, el profesional que nos estaba compartiendo el speech nos decía, la inteligencia artificial es el futuro. Yo pienso algo un poco distinto acerca de esa afirmación. Yo creo que el futuro es el relacionamiento humano. Lo fue en el pasado, lo es en el presente, y el futuro es la humanización de las relaciones. Siempre lo va a ser.
Muchas gracias. Just in English, just for a second. So basically, you were sharing at the beginning of the summit, you had an expert who was sharing with you that AI is the future. You think that actually the future is human connections, and it's this humanity and the victory of humanity that is basically going to be at the future, and that will be the driving key. Thank you very much. Please.
Yeah, we are here on this platform. We have big countries, small island state like Mauritius. We are here for a conversation to discuss on the future of our children. So some countries have already started programs, projects, policies based on the frameworks of UNESCO. We are guided by the frameworks of UNESCO. So we have countries which are starting now. So we are all here to learn, to share. So I hope we reach there. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you all for participating and for joining us here today. I sometimes have the impression when I come back to Sadia, Thailand, that this is the new Renaissance and that we have the experience, not wanting to pick from Italy, but it's so incredible what is being done by Abu Dhabi and by the United Arab Emirates. Thank you very much for hosting us. Thank you all for joining us in the debate, and let the conversation continue. Thank you.